guys, welcome to another Friday. How are you doing tonight? How are you doing this evening or morning or afternoon, depending on wherever you're joining us from the world? Welcome to another Friday. And you know what we do on Fridays, right? It's the Get Into Tech program. Welcome to this session, and we are going to be looking at everything project management, right? So our goal for tonight's session is to help you become the latest project manager, right? This year, right? Once again, this is the Get Into Tech program. And in case you are joining for the first time, the Get Into Tech program or initiative is designed to give you all of the needed knowledge, clarity, and roadmap that will help you break into 12 select paths in tech. 12 select career paths in tech. And this is the 10th session, right? The whooping 10th session. Meaning we've gone 1, 2, 3 up until the 10th session, which is today. And we've covered digital marketing, blockchain technology, software development, web development, product design, video editing. Last week we covered data science, and today is for project management. Like we always do, we bring you the best experts in this field to come share their stories, their journeys, their experiences, and how, they got to grow, the required skills for these career paths, and how they've grown in the career paths over the years, right? And the idea is, by bringing them to share their stories, your journey can be shorter and faster. And tonight we have an awesome person, by name Success Oyeshola. She's a top project manager in the real estate division, of a top bank in Nigeria, basically. And she's going to be talking to us on her project management, journey. She's like I said, she's a project manager in Stanbic IBTC, and she's going to be sharing her project, manager journey with us tonight. Hi, Success.
Okay. Hi, Glory. Good evening, everyone. It's actually great to be here.
It's good to have you on tonight, and I'm sure that guys who are tuned in, right, expect a whole lot of goodness, right? It's good to have you on tonight. Before I release the floor to you, let you have the floor. Guys, like we love to do, I'd like to know where you are joining us from. Around the world, from Abuja, Nigeria, from Lagos, from the UK, from the US, right? So drop in the comments where you are joining us from. Where are you tuning in from tonight? I'm joining in the comments, basically. Success, you have the floor. Just share with us, what you have for us tonight. Basically, how can a newbie go from knowing nothing about project management to becoming the next top project?
Okay. Thank you once again, Glory. And I can see that we have quite a number of people joining in. Okay, so good evening, everyone, again. And then, like Glory rightly said, I am Success and I'm a project manager. I usually would like to introduce myself by saying that I'm a project manager by profession and lifestyle. And that's because for me, project management it's gone beyond, just building a career around it. I've been able to see how relatable project management can be really in every other aspect of my life. So that's why I actually say I'm a project manager by lifestyle also. And then this in turn has helped to increase or, better the quality of my life. All right, so I'm meant to share my story, my project management story, and also some nuggets to guide your journey or your proposed journey into being a project manager. All right, so for me, I studied building technology in school in Covenant University, and then right from that time, I knew I wasn't going to practice as a builder on site. So it just drove me to research on, okay, what exactly is the field that really suits my strengths. I knew that I was really good with coordinating people. I knew that I really loved planning. I loved putting plans together. I loved I was very big on time management. In fact, the way I used to run my life in school, I would literally use I think I I maximized my reminder on my tab. Then I will literally put a reminder for everything. So I was that structured with regards to running even my everyday life. So I realized that I wanted to do something that gives me the opportunity to, express these skills I already had. And then I found out about project management. And then I started out from school at about 400 level, and I took the Microsoft project certification at the time, and that was under CompTIA, and then passed and I got certified. That was really the start of the journey for me in project management, and it was just quite, insightful. And then the more I went into project management, the more I loved it, because it just gave me the opportunity to live the life that I actually planned to or intended to live. And then for me, that's actually where project management and the journey started for me. Obviously, I went for the NYSC. That part didn't really relate, but then I volunteered as the head of learning and leadership in an NGO, Success Building International, and then majorly, or the vast part of what I do really is managing people, managing virtual teams, putting plans together, putting schedules together, monitoring, that certain activities are going as planned, delegating, and then it just gave me an opportunity to really blossom in this particular field and particular skill. So when I joined Stanbic IBTC in 2017, I joined in really as a project manager from the start, a project officer from the start. That, and I had not even been certified yet. So I joined in as a project officer, and then it was not until I got certified that I was termed, or tagged the project manager in the office. So I will speak quickly about what my regular average day is like as a project manager. Um, Averagely, okay. So averagely, what my job entails really is to coordinate people, coordinate activities, and then ensure that things are going as planned. So I'll just give a very quick and brief definition of project management to help everyone understand what we're talking about here, so that everyone is on the same page. Now, it's basically the coordination of resources, and resources can be human resources, physical resources. You have knowledge, also you have information. Those are part of the resources you have to coordinate within specific constraints, which could be time, cost, quality, different resources, in order to achieve a desired outcome or result. And then something that is done with the purpose or with the intention of getting a desired result. So that's exactly what happens. And then for me, I work in the real estate division or in the real estate department. And then this is interesting for me because I get to also work with the security teams, I get to coordinate the IT teams, I get to coordinate the marketing and branding teams, I get to coordinate the facility teams, and then every other team literally that builds that fits into a building. So for me, I'm starting out, a project, and then I'm starting out with engaging, okay, the architect, engaging the consultant on the project. We're discussing designs, we're discussing what the preference of the client is, we're discussing some of those details. We are putting, the client's ideas, the client's requirements into drawings that are interpretable for the electrical engineers, for the plumbing, for the M&E. So we're actually doing all that in the planning phase, and that's because I already had engagements with the clients, and then I already understand what their expectations are, and I'm able to. And my role as a project manager is to understand that expectation and communicate that expectation to every single stakeholder within the project, to the contractors, to the artisans, to those that are going to implement on site and all that. So this will bring me to top skills and very important skills that are required as a project manager. The first thing I would always say, and I would say over and over again, is communication. It cannot be overemphasized. Like, you have to know how to communicate. You have to, because you are basically, a huge part of what you do as a project manager really is communication. You are communicating to the client, you are giving feedback as to what's happening, you're communicating with your consultants or with your contractors, you're communicating, to procure things. You're even communicating sometimes to the artisans on site. Okay, for me, I don't go to site every time. And then, which is why I said project management really gives me the luxury of the kind of lifestyle that I really want. So I go to sites probably like, once in 2 weeks or something like that. So, but when I go to site and I realize that there's an artisan on site and he's doing, probably laying some blocks or laying some tiles, I need to be able to communicate to him, bros, this thing when they do now, no, not be so. So as much as yes, I'm learned, as much as yes, I know the professional, the official way, I should be able to communicate to whoever I need to communicate to within my project, all because I need to deliver value. So communication is a big skill, one of the top skills you require as a project manager. Time management is super important because, like I said earlier, you have to be able to manage time. You have to be able to keep everything to time. And then, if you would agree with me, human beings are like the most difficult set of people to manage, especially grown-ups, adults. Oh my god, they are something else. You feel that, okay, I've made a perfect plan, and then this person needs to take 3 days to fix this problem, and then you are calling one artisan and he's saying, madam, as I wanted to end. Okay, let me even give a very practical example that happened recently in one of my projects. And then we're already pressed for time on this project, and then there was this perfect plan to close out every single work within the next 3 days. And then everybody was on the same page. We got everybody's buy-ins. We ensured everybody agreed that it was convenient for them or something that was realistic for them to do. So imagine having to get everybody's buy-in. And then one morning I came and I realized that nothing was done throughout the night, which was the plan. And I called the contractor. What happened? And he said he could not buy fuel. And then there was no fuel in the truck to bring his boys to site. I was like, are you kidding me? So those are things that can actually pop up. There are lots of surprises really in projects and project management. But communication, time management is important. You have to be able to factor in those human, tendencies. You have to be able to factor in those things. You have to be able to plan your time properly. You have to, for example, your contractor tells you that it takes you 5 days to do this. When you're communicating to your client, you have to give a buffer to say, okay, give me 7 days and I'll do this and I'll deliver this, in 7 days. Something also, another skill that is leadership. Obviously, I've been talking about people a lot, and then for you to be able to direct people, it's really boils down and speaks to leadership. And then technical expertise. Now, as much as project management really is it's applicable in different industries, and that's one thing I really love about project management, is the fact that it is not streamlined to just one industry. So as a project manager, I can be a project manager in a tech industry. I can be a project manager in the pharmaceutical industry. I can be a project manager in the real estate industry. The same principles apply. Now, as much as the same project management principles apply with regards to, yes, you have your initiation process, you have your planning process, you have your execution, you have your monitoring and controlling, you have your closing phase. As much as these same principles apply really across any industry, there's a place for technical expertise, at least having a basic knowledge of what's happening in that industry. For example, I'm working in a tech space as a scrum master, and then I'm actually having to coordinate some developers or some software programmers or some guys that code. I don't necessarily have to know how to code to be a project manager, effective project manager in that space. I don't necessarily have to be a programmer to actually be effective in that space, but I need to at least understand the basics of what they do so that I'm able to understand when they give feedbacks, when they say, okay, this particular code is not working, we're having this particular issue because of this. I should be able to interpret what their complaints are, because part of my role as a project manager is to ensure that my team members are fine. and it's to ensure that my team members are, focused and able to deliver what they have to deliver within the set time and within the set quality. Now, I'll just move quickly to there are numerous other there are other skills, rather, quite a number of them that you require. But I want you to think about this. When you think about people, you know that there are certain skills you require: emotional intelligence, you require problem solving. I think I want to emphasize the problem solving before I move on to the next thing I want to say, because every project is unique. And then if you are studying a project management certification, the first thing you would actually hear is that every project is unique, which is why project management is big on tailoring. Tailoring is literally making everything fits to that particular project. There's nothing like one size fit all. Yes, there are basic principles, but you should be able to align them to your project, to the uniqueness of your project. Every project is unique, even in construction, where you can say, I want this same 5-story building in this other space. I want the same roofing, I want the same finishes, I want the same everything. You can use the same architect, you can use the same builders, you can use the same project manager, but there will still be a uniqueness on that project. And then there will be something that would actually just be different from the initial project. One, you can talk about the topography of the land. Yeah, the building is going to be in two different spaces. Two, you can talk about the climate. The first building might have been done in summer, and the second building, you're building it in winter, or you're building it, in your rainy season. Those things will definitely affect your timeline. It will affect your cost. Or you're saying, okay, you're building in December when the other one was built in March. Things are relatively more expensive in December, so your cost will not be the same. So there's always a uniqueness to every single project. Now, I'd like to answer the question: I want to be a project manager, or I'm aspiring to be a project manager. What are the things that I can do, or what can I invest in to transition into the project management industry, or project management as a career? I think the first thing you need to do really is learn. Be open to learning. This is it. Now, you do not have to carry the job title of project manager to practice as a project manager. And then this is instrumental because in the course of your career as a project manager, you would get to a point where you need to get certified. And then part of the qualification, or part of the requirements for you to get a certification, is experience as a project manager. So, and then when you are documenting that experience, you might not necessarily be the head or the person coordinating the project. You might be playing a role in that project as a whole. It counts. So for you as to transition into a project management role, really, first of all, is learn. Your learning experience counts. The time you spend learning counts. You can, for me, I would always advise people, the number of people I know that I've had to mentor and also tutor, is start out with videos. There are lots of materials that you can find on project management. For me personally, I use LinkedIn Learning a lot. And then you find some foundational, facts on project management, helping you to get the basic understanding of what project management is, what project management entails, and what you require to really excel as a project manager. Once you have those basics in place, you can now say, okay, fine, I am going to invest in getting training, or getting an arranged training, because that is part of the requirements to be able to write an exam. So first of all, I would just say learn, invest in learning. And then we are really in the information age, and then anything you really want to learn is on the internet, really. And then as much as you have the interest, you can learn. Then secondly, when you see the project management principles, apply them. Like I said earlier, that for me, project management is beyond a career. I literally find ways to, apply project management principles in my everyday life. For example, the basic cost management. Now, for me personally, I'm not a finance expert, but in my own personal finance or my family finance, I also ensure that, okay, I also try to put in, some cost management techniques here and there. I use the formulas here and there. I've been able to build my Excel sheets using the same basic formulas, basic ideas from project management. I'm able to simplify them. So now when I'm even doing my monthly budget, I already have my Excel sheet or my spreadsheet built, and I impute my figures, and then yeah, I'm able to populate my budget in no time. So this is me already literally, you know, practicing project management in my own everyday life. I already explained to you how my time management works for me. Sometimes I have a lot of things to do. I'm able to put them in my calendar so that I know things don't clash. This is schedule management in project management. So this is a good way for you to integrate yourself into project management. Be able to identify these are the different principles, these are the different skills. Where can I implement this? You might actually be working in an office now that is not necessarily tagged as project management. For example, you are working in an event space or event space where you guys just we plan events, or you're in a restaurant, yeah, or you work in a restaurant or something like that. It might seem like, okay, there's really no project here, in this place. But when your management comes and says, okay, we want to just change the look of this space, or we want to improve the ambience, take it as a project. And I'm serious, there are ways you go about it, and then you realize that the excellence touch is really on that project, or on that activity. And then one thing about project is usually short timed, short lived. So it doesn't have to be for 6 months before it counts as a project. It can be for 2 weeks. Yes, it can be as short as 2 weeks. It can be as short as 1 month. And then you deliver on that item. So taking project management principles and then applying them even in your everyday activity would help you integrate better. Then you can go ahead to get certifications. You need to get certifications really to be able to get certain jobs as a project manager with the title of project manager. There are a number of certifications under the PMI, that's the Project Management Institute, and I'm referring to the PMI because they are globally accepted. So I personally accept, I don't know, for me personally, I really would think on a more global scale, which is why I'm talking about PMI. PMI literally has several certifications of project management, but the very, very, um, you know, highly recommended or the highly requested certification is your PMP certification, which is your project management professional certification. And then getting the PMP certification, it opens doors. Let me just leave it at that. It does open door, because if you just try to turn on your LinkedIn, what's it called, job search, and then you realize that a whole lot of job openings on project management requires you to have a PMP certification. So, and this really opens the door for you. PMP certified personnel are usually paid a lot higher than one that is just practicing in the role without a certification. You also have your Scrum certificates, is when you want to, specialize into Scrum. You can also do your Kanban certificate. There are quite a number of certificates. Your Agile practitioner certificate. There are quite a number of certificates really under the Project Management Institute. But the highly requested one so far is the PMP, followed by the Scrum certification. So for the Scrum, you have professional Scrum Master certification that you can proceed to that. Obviously, that is available to you at a fee. I will just speak about that certification quickly. The requirement really for you to write the certification, first of all, is that you must have had minimum of 35 hours of contact hours of learning under project management, which is where an organized training is usually advised. For example, you're having a training with a particular organization, this training really counts for you to be able to write the exam. That's why you find people want to write the exam and then they still have to go for paid trainings, because it would help them qualify to write the exam. Then secondly, you need to have experience working as a project or a part of a project, like I explained earlier. And then you have to pay for the exam. really. That, and then the fee so far has been the same for the past how many years, really, aside the fact that our dollar has been amazing. The dollar exchange, naira exchange rate has been amazing. But so far, I think it's that easy, really. It's actually that easy. If you are keen or that interested in being a project manager or transitioning, it's that easy for you to do as long as you're open-minded, and then as long as you are really willing, to be a project manager. I think it's something you can do. Like I mentioned earlier, it's the relatability for me. Project management rather is very relatable, and then something that you can easily apply, something that you can easily understand. Is something that you can easily transition into. So some of the tips I would actually just give for quick learning, I would actually say, like I said earlier, be open-minded, be open-minded, be open-minded. Especially because now there's a transition in project management, which is transition from the traditional project management to a more agile approach. And then the old agile approach is becoming a buzz now because of the way the world is. A lot of things are changing. For example, COVID-19, nobody expected it, but then it changed a whole lot of things. And then this is me. I am literally working from home for most of the times, and then I'm still getting projects done all across the country. So that's, yeah, it's amazing as a project manager, and then it also gives you time to do every other thing, really. So be open-minded, your way of work might change, your approach to or your view of work might actually change, but stay open-minded to really understand that, okay, this is possible. And then once you actually push for it, I think it's really not far-fetched from you, actually. So also, I would also say to position yourself properly, or to give yourself the advantage of getting a job as a project manager, start out with, taking LinkedIn learning courses. For me, taking, what's it called now? Skill tests, yeah, on LinkedIn, not LinkedIn Learning now. Taking skill tests on LinkedIn. I think this helped me a lot. Yeah, so it helped me to be positioned as someone who is knowledgeable with regards to project management. Take skill test. You have a skill test on LinkedIn. I know there are several skill tests. You have skill tests for Microsoft Project. You have skill tests for Microsoft Word. You have skill tests for, there are different things. Agile. Take one or two. Start from the ones that are really close to what you know. Microsoft Word, because you would use it. Outlook, or your emailing, you would use it. Start with those. Then you can now move on to learning project, Microsoft Project. These are some of the tools that are frequently used as a project manager. I think I should actually even emphasize on that. Some of the tools that are frequently used as a project manager, and then a lot of other organizations, they might actually sort of tailor it to what works for the organization, but generally as a project manager you are on mails a lot. So that could range from your Outlook to your Gmail, depending on what the organization is using. You're definitely going to be using probably Teams, Zoom, or Google Meet. I don't know, depending on whichever one the organization would prefer to use, or your organization. Why? Because you'll be having lots of meetings. You have to be able to coordinate people. You have to be able to meet people, and then a lot of these meetings don't have to be physical. So that's why you have those apps. Then you have your Microsoft Project. Microsoft Project, it is important. It's important, really. It helps you coordinate time, it helps you coordinate resources, it helps you coordinate cost. It literally helps you coordinate the whole project. It gives you a view of the whole project on one app, on one application. So if you are aiming to be a project manager, try and learn how to use Microsoft Project. It is not very different from Excel, just a few commands here and there, a few icons here and there, and a few additions here and there. I feel that if you are someone that is very conversant with Excel, Microsoft Project shouldn't be so much of a problem. But if you intend to transition into project management, please invest in learning Microsoft Project. like I said, information is literally everywhere. You can literally watch videos on YouTube, practice, and then you can get better with practice. Get videos, watch videos, and learn. I would still emphasize on learning. A whole lot of learning can be done by yourself, or can be done so that it qualifies you really to stand on certain platforms, especially if you don't have any background at all, if you don't have anything that really relates or links to project management as a career. I would advise that you maximize the information that you have present on the internet, and then learn these tools. Finally, Excel is also one very important tool that you're going to be using or needing as a project manager. So I think these are really the major tools. You have some other tools, but they are not core. They're usually based on the preference of the organization or the preference of the individual. For me, I use Kanban a lot. And then Kanban for me is just because um, it gives me a visual representation of what I need to do and where I am. I use that a lot. And then it's not something that my organization uses, it's a personal preference for me. So there are several other tools. You have ClickUp, you have, I know there's one I saw, Monday.com. There are quite a number actually of tools that you use as a project manager. But then the basic ones that you need to learn, Microsoft Project, very important. And then you have your Excel, very important. Learn how to use your Outlook, your mails. Is as basic as learn how to use your mails properly. There are several things you can do with your mails. You can schedule a mail to be delivered later. You can, put in your priorities, your different priorities per mail. You can request a read receipts. There are several things you can actually do with your mail aside just typing something and going. You know, learn how to use those tools properly. And these are some of the questions, some of the things that organizations look out for when they're looking out to hire or looking out to recruit a project manager within that space. So I think at this point, I'll just, leave it up to Glory and anyone that has a question, and then so that I'm addressing specific things that people need to know.
Awesome, awesome. It's been really fantastic, right? I mean, in the background and just learn and all of that. Basically, it's been. I like how you've really simplified things. It made it very easy for somebody who's never heard of what the word or the career path project management is. How you've simplified things for them to understand. So guys, if you have questions, you can start to drop them. This is actually officially this is my favorite part of the whole session, because I get to like ask you questions and all that, and further break things down, right? So first question I have is there's a whole of there's several terminologies that are thrown around a lot, when it comes perhaps like project management, and you mentioned like one or two of them. And there's Scrum, for example, there's Agile, right? And there's Waterfall. You didn't mention that, but I have some knowledge, little, really not knowledge and all that there. So I wanted to like really talk about this, what is Scrum, what is Agile, what is Waterfall, and can you also talk about like how one are there specializations in project management? Like, can you choose one path to specialize in, and what would it take, to do that?
Okay, so yeah, I'll start with Waterfall. Waterfall really is the traditional project management, and then it's when it's mostly used in construction. So let me just use that as a practical example. I'll give an example to explain that. With Waterfall, you know what you want to achieve from the beginning of your project. So your scope is complete at the beginning of the project and it's fixed. So for example, I say I want a 3-bedroom duplex with a BQ and a pool. From the onset, this is my scope, this is what I want. And then because that is fixed, I now plan I have a fixed plan, and then I move till I deliver that particular request or that particular scope. That's how Waterfall works, really. There's little or no room for change. If you're going to make any changes in the Waterfall, it has to go through some rigorous assessments. You have to check, is this change acceptable? And then you can refuse change. in waterfall, So as much as possible in the waterfall, you are trying to minimize change and variations as much as possible. So it's also called the traditional project management, because that's really where project management started from, where we say, okay, we define the scope, we define the time, we define the cost, and we try to stay fixed on that. That's waterfall. Agile, on the other hand, is like the other spectrum. Agile has come to see that, the world is changing. For example, personally, I can say today that I want a 3-bedroom duplex, and then I want a pool, and then I want a BQ, and I say that's fine, that's all I want. And then 3 weeks into the project, I visit one country in, probably I just go to Mauritius, and I'm like, oh my god, I saw this gazebo and I really like it. And then I come back and say, oh, can you please include gazebo into it? I'm the client. I'll pay for it. Don't worry. Just give me the cost indication and I'll deal it. And then you find out that people's requests or people's requirements, they change over time based on exposure, based on more knowledge, based on more understanding. And then we find out that sometimes some clients will tell you that I want this, but they are not able to articulate what they really want. So sometimes it's not when they actually see the framework, or they see that you're saying something like, no, this is not what I really want. This is not what I was trying to say. This is what I was trying to say. So Agile, on the other hand, gives room for change. So for Agile, we do not um, label out the old scope from the start. We can say in Agile, okay, fine, we are going to build a house, and then we have this particular, we know we're building a house. We are not drilling down to all the details from start. Do you understand? So let me give a practical example. Agile is used very well in the tech industry. That's why you would have, your iPhone till you're 13. We're still waiting for the next one. We are very sure they will keep having improvements. If they had waited to say, we want to have the perfect iPhone, and then we want all the features in it, we probably would not have iPhone until whenever they intend to stop. But then what they are doing is, this is a new feature, we add it, we release. Then they get feedback from the market. Once, based on feedback, based on user experience, based on all that, based on testing, they improve, they add new features. Sometimes they remove some features, they add features, and then they release. So Agile, on the other hand, has several releases, and then the point is just to give room for change, to give room for giving more value in a shorter period of time. For example, a house will take you like 9 months, or probably a year. There are some road construction that we see that takes like 2-3 years. You get, but for Agile, the thought is, what's the shortest possible time you can deliver value? Scrum is, on the other hand, is a part of Agile. When you're talking about specialization now, so Scrum is one way you can specialize. Now, Scrum is one of the Agile tools. Now, under the Agile methodology, or the Agile framework, you have several methodologies you can use. There is the Scrum, there is the Lean methodology, there is the Kanban, there is the extreme programming. There are quite a number of frameworks and methodologies you can use under Agile. Scrum is literally one of those frameworks. So anyone that is going to Scrum is saying, I'm specializing in this aspect of project management. So that's one way you can specialize. Can you do that? You can just say, okay, fine, after taking the general um, project management certification, you can now say, okay, I want to specialize and take the Scrum Master certification. So yes, I'm a project manager. I'm also specializing in Scrum. Or I can decide to take Kanban and say I'm a Kanban specialist. Or I can say, okay, I'm focusing on Lean. And then I'm a Lean practitioner, I'm a Lean specialist. Do you understand? So these are different ways you can specialize in project management under the Agile. So just to briefly explain Scrum, with Scrum, it's basically you delivering value within, like, iteratively. I'm trying not to use the project management jargon so that it's very easily accessible, understandable. But when you talk about iteratively, you talk about releasing often. So for a Scrum sprint, you are looking at a period of about 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks for a short Scrum sprint, and then at the end of that sprint, you should be able to deliver a value which the stakeholders can use or make use of, and then they can give feedback. Then you continue to the next sprint and say, this is the next thing we want to do. In a Scrum, you have your development team, you have your product owner, and then you have your Scrum master. I really don't want to go into the details, breaking everything down, but for Scrum, really, it's just a self operational team. Usually the limit is about 10 to 12, and then the whole idea around Scrum is that you can have few people get things done and give us value, and then the team can actually run by itself. So it's really a team of experts in the different fields working together to deliver product or value iteratively, really.
Awesome, awesome. Once again, you broke it down. Thank you. We have a question from Adeyemi, which we'll take first. And it's a question I was also going to ask you, right? And before I read out the question, so you mentioned something crucial. If you want to become and be recognized as a project management professional, it makes sense for you to get the PMP certification, right? Which is something I've heard a whole lot. But then we know that the PMP certification is quite expensive, which is relative actually. But then it's like, I think, I don't know, it's like maybe close to $1,000 or less and all that.
No, it's not. It's actually
it's not up to
$5. No.
Okay.
It's $5.
Okay. In Naira, that's
and
roughly
it's
over.
been that same price for like 3-4 years now.
Oh, really? Okay. That's over 300K. Perhaps maybe a little much for. I wouldn't say it's much because I know that to really go far.
Naira, really.
Okay, actually, that's true. That's true. Now, so I was going to ask that. I was going to say something like, without that certification, how can you get at least an entry-level role to grow that skill and maybe even save up money for that certification? That's what I find the average Nigerian, right? So, so let's keep that aside. We have a similar question to that, which is from Adeyemi, which is how can one tailor a job? The question we put on the screen now: how can one tailor a job proposal for project management after acquiring the skills and getting the certifications, but without experience? How can you get a project management job without any kind of prior experience? Let's say you have certification, and let's say you don't have one, but how can you get an entry level role without certification?
Okay. All right. So I think I'll answer your question, then I'll go to Adeyemi's question.
Okay.
Yes, there is, like I mentioned while I was speaking earlier, the reason why I was emphasizing on PMP is because it's internationally or globally recognized. There are definitely other globally recognized. Do you understand? So, like I mentioned, when I started out, I took the Microsoft project. I think it was hosted by CompTIA. Yeah, so it's not globally recognized, but then it actually puts me, and that's where I started off from. It's a whole lot cheaper. I think as at then, I think I spent about 45,000 doing the exam or something like that.
Okay.
It was a whole lot cheaper. You get, but that was where I started from. I didn't start off, getting a project management professional from start. I literally got certified about like that was in 2020. Yes, that was like 2 years ago. So it's not like I started out, just getting certified just like that. So you definitely can start out without necessarily getting your PMP. The PMP just positions you, gives you that advantage really in getting a job. So now over to Adeyemi's question. Like I mentioned, you don't necessarily have to be the one heading the project to be able to put yourself in that place whereby say I was a part of the project. Now, if I'm tailoring my CV, for example, I work. Okay, let me just give a practical example. Something just came to mind. So, for example, at work, we were trying to look for an easier way to organize our files and our hard copy files, because we realized that because they're hard copy files, unlike the soft copy, it's hard to just search and then you find items. And then the activity came on to put together the files and name them, tag them, put names. I will put that on my CV, and I said and say I what's it called now? Participated. You'll be amazed. Participated in. You are laughing, Glory. This
No,
is
okay. Let me let you finish. But you, I
do you
mean, you know how employers are. Is that enough? Let me let you finish. Let me just
no.
let you finish. Right? Okay.
I think should I tell you the truth?
Okay.
What I've come to understand, right,
Okay.
is that what they are looking for is how much do you understand what you're meant to do,
Okay.
really? So if I'm telling you that I played or facilitated the what's it called now, inventory system of the knowledge or the tacit or the operational assets of the organization. For example, as a project manager, there's a part of project management we call operational assets, and these are historical information or historical knowledge on previous projects or previous activities, and this helps you to run through your project easily without having to start over some things again. So these files or this information that you have there, they are historical information. In project management, it's OPAS. So I'm not going to write on my CV that I organize files.
Okay.
I'm going to tell you that I facilitated, the coordination or the proper archiving of the OPAS of the organization, and this fostered or helped, help us access knowledge or access information a whole lot quicker. You can even put saves us time. These are things we are looking out for as a project manager.
Okay.
How are you able to help me save time? How are you able to help me save cost? You might be, you might be your own role. You might just be maybe an accounting personnel. You might not necessarily be a project manager. You might probably currently be an accounting personnel, and then your role really is to keep the books and then check. For you, you can now say, okay, fine, I was able to put in, I was able to draw up a structure, or I was able to draw up, I don't want to use abbreviation now, but that's even too extreme. Probably, you know how you put in formulas on your Excel
Yeah.
to ensure that the cost is being tracked, and this helped us to monitor and track. Monitoring and controlling is a major part of project management. So putting in these nomenclatures in your CVs helps you. One, it shows that this person understands some things or the things that are required in project management. Monitoring, controlling, managing, coordinating, facilitating. These are terms and these are things that when you put into your project, you don't necessarily have to be the head of the project, really. So it's you being able to defend some of these experiences, which is why it's important to put in experiences that actually happened. But then is the way you put it there, is the way you actually defend it, is the way you actually put that in. And then you're able to say this is the value that they got from doing that. It might seem like a small activity, but they got a lot of time saved. And that's one of the things you can do as a project manager. So I hope I
Okay.
answered that David question well.
Yes. Yes. So much. If there's something like got like a summary of what you said, um, so it doesn't matter whatever role you are transitioning from into project management. In tailoring your CV, try to make your CV project based, right? So
Exactly.
talk about projects you've worked on and frame it, really nice and all that stuff. To
Exactly.
convey that you ensured that solutions were created for problems and all that. Okay, awesome, awesome. So Adeyemi, I want to believe that you got that very clearly. And we have another question from Modupe, which we put up on the screen now. It goes, thank you so much, ma'am. I'm a newbie in this career path. Been learning online via Coursera. How do I get internship? I really want to practice to get experience.
Okay, so personally, when I think about internships, really, when you're looking at internships, depending on what organization you're looking at, there are usually opportunities, and then this depends on quite a number of factors. If you're looking at age, I know there are a number of organizations that actually run management internships, a good number of them, and that's usually a very amazing way to even start out your career, really apply for management, trainee roles, graduate trainee roles. That's the amazing way to start out your career, really, depending on your age. 'Cause I know there's usually an age limit to that. Secondly, if that really is not where you fall into. Secondly, getting an internship really sometimes would entail you reaching out to recruiters in organizations, and sometimes they would tell you, we don't intend to pay you, or you would not be paid. I've actually seen
Yeah.
these things, or you will not be paid, the normal entry level, fee and blah blah blah, because you're coming to learn also with us. But I think what you should be able to do is position yourself as someone that is knowledgeable and then is still willing to advance in that knowledge. LinkedIn is a powerful tool for you to use, sincerely speaking. You have access to recruiters, you have access to people, you have access to companies. Look up companies that you think that, okay, you would actually love to intern in, and then reach out, send emails like I do it. And then it's actually very effective. Send emails. You have to be able to push yourself out there, really, if you want to get those roles. And that's basically the way to go about it. Gone are the days where we're carrying paper and walking on the street, entering company to company. You have LinkedIn, maximize it. Trust me.
Awesome, awesome. Something I got of that is be ready to be unconventional, right? In your approach to get an internship. Like you said, instead of just sitting around listening about, go into people's inboxes. That's LinkedIn and all that. I think that's fantastic. So Modupe, you got the answer to that. Okay, another
Okay, I
question
think I
from
can
Modupe.
see. Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, I can see that is asking, are there other things that need to
things
be
that
on
need to be on my
LinkedIn?
LinkedIn profile.
Okay, I think I had mentioned one of the things earlier when I said you can take skill test on LinkedIn. It positions you really as someone that is knowledgeable in that field. So I would advise that you look up the skill tests available on LinkedIn, and then you can take quite a number of them. Those things show on your profile. Then your LinkedIn, what's it called, summary is super important. That is where you get to put in information about yourself that people would see anytime they go to your profile. So you want to be able to position yourself or put yourself as someone that is creative, someone that is, intuitive or good with management. You want to create yourself or put yourself forward as someone that is very good with coordination and organization, which is something that's very big for project management. So that's something you can do well on your LinkedIn profile. So do that, and then also add skills. Then one thing I always tell people to do, I realize a lot of people don't do it, but it really helps you get recommendations. Have you worked with someone before? Have you have you been in a class with someone before? Have you gone for a tutorial with someone before? Ask them to recommend, to send. You can request recommendations. When I go on your page and I'm seeing someone recommend that, oh, I've actually worked with Mojipe, and then she is amazing with time, she's always punctual. Once I see that this is a recommendation from someone, and then this is not just her hyping herself, it really would put you on a positive light. So reach out to people people you related to, and tell them, can you kindly, give me a recommendation on LinkedIn, and that would also help you.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for the response to that. So I have a quick question, please. Are there communities are there like any project management communities where people interested, can join in, where maybe perhaps they can, get to see project management content and all that. Are there communities like that, or
Okay, I'm currently on one on LinkedIn, and I think that's the one
okay,
I am aware of. I'm currently on one on LinkedIn, and it's basically project management professional. I think that's what's called, project management on LinkedIn. There they share information about project management. On Instagram, I'm on PMP Orb. PMP Orb shares, information, and they simplify, the different project management principles and things here and there. That's also a community that you can also reach out to and join. It will help you and give you information. I think those are the two really that I'm aware of, because
okay,
I'm sentimentally part of the state. So
okay.
yeah.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Do you have an opportunity for people who are interested, either on this session right now, or people who will get to watch this, videos later on, for them to learn from you, maybe like a mentorship thing, you know, any offer like that on the table for?
Okay, so yes, I currently partner with the Project Management Hub, and then we run trainings. Like I mentioned earlier, one of the requirements for you to qualify to write the PMP exam is for you to have minimum of 35 contact hours of training. So I offer those trainings in partnership with PMP Hub, and then you can always register for that. Like I mentioned, it's at PMP Hub on Instagram. We have the trainings in cohorts, and then what we try to do is we try to make it as um, compact as possible, meaning that we don't take more than 10 persons per cohort. And then this is so that we can ensure that the learning is personalized, because if you are going to, you know, say you're writing a professional exam, we need to be sure that you understand it. We need to make it, bring it home to you. We need to simplify it to you. We need to ensure that you have case studies that you can relate to. So that's what I do really. So it's an opportunity really for you to get trained with all the basics. I do trainings in project management professionals. I do trainings in Scrum also. We run those two trainings currently at PMP Hub. We are currently running a court, the May court, and then that has already kicked off. However, the next court for both project management professional and then Scrum is for July. Like I mentioned, it's usually a very, very limited class. So there is a waiting list already. And then if you'll be interested in joining in, you can just visit PMP Hub, and then you can click the link to register to join the waiting list so that we don't get to July and then the 10 is exhausted, and then yeah. So it's a paid training, and then all the details with regards to the course for PMP or PMP training is different from Scrum. So all the details are definitely available at PMP or on
Okay.
Instagram. So we can always check that.
Okay. Awesome. So for anyone who's interested to apply, all you have to do is search for at PMP Hub on Instagram and to get all the details to join the waiting list.
Yeah.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. Are you active? I know you're active on LinkedIn. Any other platforms where people can connect with you on to read,
I am
all,
I am
okay.
actually active on LinkedIn. I think I recently, probably this year, just fell in love with LinkedIn because I just came to see so much possibilities, on LinkedIn. So I'm very active on LinkedIn. In
LinkedIn.
fact,
Okay.
weekly I try to share articles on project management and how it
Okay.
can relate to your everyday life.
Okay.
I told you, for me it's more like a lifestyle. So I try to take principles, project management principles, and then relate it to real everyday scenarios so that everybody can understand and relate. So I do that often on LinkedIn also. So I'm Success Oyeshola on LinkedIn. I'm Success Oyeshola on Instagram. So these are the two platforms I know I
You're
run.
active on. Okay.
Yeah, I'm active on currently.
Okay. Awesome. 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 So guys, go send a connection. Go send a connection request, or just simply follow her on LinkedIn. So simply search for Success and Oyeshola. Also connect to her on Instagram at Success Oyeshola. Thank you so much, Success. It's been fantastic tonight with you. I like how you've
Thank
really
you.
simplified things. And then anybody who came into the session, feeling like project management is such a big thing, or had so many rejections, they'll get to be pumped up that they actually have a chance, at this, basically. So thank you so
Sure.
much. Guys, for those of you who want to learn and join the next cohort of the training she's involved in, which is at PMP, or simply go to Instagram and check the profile at PMP Hub, for all of the details you need to join the waiting list for the next cohort. Thank you so much, guys, for joining in. Like I love to do after every session. If this has been beneficial to you, drop the fire emoji in the comments. I want to see it. Drop the fire emoji. Yeah, so guys, this is the Get Into Tech initiative. this is the 10th session out of 12 sessions. We've come a long way. I can assure you that it's not been easy, right? There's a whole lot that's gone in the back end to ensure we've come this far. But then we've done 4 sessions every month, so it's been about 2.5 months, and we're down to the final 2 sessions, and I can't wait for you to experience that. We have machine learning or / AI and graphic design left. Next week Friday is going to be graphic design. So I can't wait for you guys to see what we have in store for you. Once again, thank you so much, Success. Thank you for joining us on the Get Into Tech stage.
Thank you.
We've learned a lot. On behalf of myself and everybody who has tuned in, we say thank you very much for letting us feature you tonight. Thank you guys for joining in. I wish you a fantastic weekend ahead. Bye. See you next week Friday for our graphic design session. And before I go off, please, I need something from you guys that's still online. There's a link that has been dropped in the comment section, the Google form link. Please go on now, just click the form and simply drop your testimonial for Get Into Tech overall or for this session. Please, I beg you to do that, right? This is an appeal. There's several persons online. I can see you online. Just click the form and click the link now and just drop the testimonial. It won't take more than a minute. Once again, I'm Glory Olamigoke, and I'm going to see you next week. Bye.